Well, very excited to be talking to you. We'll be getting into your new acoustic song of your great song. But before that, here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passions. I want to know where your passion for music came from, led to this amazing musical journey. Was it a certain album you heard, a certain live performance, or something that was natural for you as a child?
I think it was just something that was very natural for me as a kid. When I was a little kid, all I wanted was a drum set. And so I think, from there, I did get a drum at a very young age. So I think that just kind of got me hooked on it instead of like, oh, I really want a drum and I never got one. And so then like the passion kind of faded. I think it kind of, that was definitely like the catalyst for me getting really into music and really into like learning other instruments and stuff like that.
What were the first few songs you learned on the drums?
I remember I brought my very first drum lesson. My drum instructor turned on his radio and was like, okay, play along to this. And Fall Out Boy's Sugar We're Going Down came on. And I was like, I don't know how to play to this. I don't know how to play drums. That's why I'm here. And so that was kind of like the very first song that we started with. But then from there, I was a huge Foo Fighters fan, so I wanted to learn all like the discography front to back. I remember one lesson I brought in Panic at the Disco is a Fever You Can't Sweat Out, like the CD for him to put in his like radio player. And I was like, I want to learn this front to back, and that's all I want to do for the next couple months.
What was the hardest Foo Fighters and or Panic song to learn on drums?
I would say Monkey Wrench was pretty difficult, just as far as like getting the counts right, especially if you're not playing to a click or anything. I mean, Everlong's hard in the way where you need to have like the stamina to play it and like the muscle. But I think one of the hardest ones for me was actually the Pretender, because I had spent so long learning how to play with a double kick pedal. And then when that song came out and I wanted to learn it, it's not played with a double kick. That ba 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 ba. You would think it's like ba 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 ba. But it's just a single kick. So that was, I think, retraining my brain to learn that was super, super hard.
You made your life harder by learning it a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, talk about your journey from moving to Nashville and then forming the band.
Yeah, I grew up in New England. I grew up playing in bands in the Boston punk and hardcore scene. And it was such a cool community, such a welcoming community, and a lot of the people who were playing in that scene, they go do their blue collar job and then they go play at night, and then they do it all over again. So it was never like that serious. It was just a cool community, and people who were doing it for the love of it. And I mean, I started playing in bands when I was 11, 12 years old, and sneaking into clubs and basement shows to play. So, we were always welcome with open arms too. Like, obviously we were little kids, but they were like, everyone was like, no, come on, come play. I mean, if you love to do it and you're good at it, let's see what you got. So then when I moved to Nashville, after experiencing such an awesome community, filled with like non-jaded, talented musicians, moving to Nashville and there only really being like a country scene was crazy to me. And I think it could go either way. You could be like, okay, well, maybe I'll just take the easy route and do the country thing and fit in with everyone, or you can do what I did, which was, okay, well, I'm going to keep playing the music I like to play, and I'll either build a community or I'll find a community. And I think, I feel very fortunate now being in Nashville, especially as like the band is doing so well, because there is this like growing alternative scene there. But for a while, it was, Dan and I were playing honky tonks, and it would be an all like country bill, and then we would go up and we would do our thing, which was not country at all. And we would definitely get some weird looks, but there was always, one or two people in the crowd who were like, I grew up listening to Blink-182, and I didn't come here expecting that tonight, but that was awesome. So it was very uncomfortable for a while going from Boston to Nashville, but I think we definitely like kept our heads down and just continued to do what we wanted to do.
So I was in Nashville. I just left in June. I was there a good 4.5 years living over there. I thought I had been to every bar, but Wilburn Street Tavern was one of the only places I never had a chance to go to. And you have a whole song with that name. And I wanted to know if I really missed out on not going to that place. And tell me more about it.
Yeah, you definitely.
You there a lot, or what's the story behind that song and why you named it after that bar?
Yeah, I used to live down the road from Wilburn, and it's super small. I mean, can maybe fit 30 to 50 people maybe, and I'm being generous with that. They serve hot dogs, just hot dogs, and booze, and you can get a cheap drink there, and it's dark all the time. Even during the day, you go in and you're like, whoa, what time is it? Yeah, it was just like a super nice staple for us. I mean, we would go there after sessions, or it was a nice like non-touristy place to go. So the reason I named a song after it was because it had this like no douchebag vibe to it. It was very real and raw and honest. So I thought it was like it perfectly like represented what I was trying to say in the song Wilburn.
I hope you now get free drinks for life, or free hot dogs for life, if that's what you want.
Thanks. Me too.
Well, let's dive into your song "You Look Like a Drunk Phoebe Bridgers" acoustic version. I love when bands release like acoustic or live versions of songs. And going back to drums, this one was recorded through a drum water hose or something like that. I guess you could talk about the recording process.
Yeah, so for the recording process, we approached it very similarly to how we did our debut record, which was it's just Austin, myself, and Dan recording, and I record all the drums and vocals and some guitars. Dan does guitars, Austin does bass, and he did a little bit of auxiliary percussion on this one too. But yeah, we just wanted to. I think the thought behind it was we feel like a lot of acts will release acoustic versions of stuff, but it just kind of sounds like they like put it through an AI generator and they're like, make the song acoustic, and then they stick the vocal from the original song on top of it, which we wanted to make sure our acoustic version had this like whole new life to it, and sounded raw and real, like I think acoustic versions should sound. So when it came to recording the drums, Austin saw this thing that Sylvia Massey does, which is attaching a microphone to a drum hose and then like wrapping it around the drum kit, and it gives you like a really cool lo-fi sound without having to take the drums from the regular mics and then putting them through a bunch of effects. It gives you like that effect in real time in real life. So we thought that was like really cool to be able to do that instead of processing the shit out of it and putting a million effects on it.
It's really cool. I love how it came out. So are you think you might record any other ones like acoustic like this?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Give the fans what they want. I have a question for you. I noticed on some of the older tracks, all the song titles are in all caps. And I know like Blink-182 did that on their new record, and I've seen a couple other artists do that. Is this something that has to do with a marketing angle, or is it just like a trend where people just put all the song names in full caps now?
For me, it's it's very weird. be listening to a song and I'll be like, yeah, this title is all caps. That's like an all caps type song.
Okay.
Like it's like, you know how people can, what is it? You can hear colors or whatever.
B sounds.
That's kind of how it works for me. So we'll be like going through and like naming the songs or naming it after a session, and I'll be like, nah, this is an appropriately capitalized song. But then sometimes I'm like, this one is all caps. That's the energy it's giving off. So,
now I want to know why other bands do it. I'm curious if Blink had the same idea.
yeah. Maybe they just copied us.
Most likely.
Most likely.
Well, I'm here in Orlando, and you guys are going to be playing the Vans Warped Tour here in November. That's a big deal. Did you ever go to like Warped Tour back in the day? I guess up in Boston area.
Oh yeah. I actually, the most recent one I went to was 2015 in Nashville. But yeah, I mean that was always like the dream was to play Warped Tour, right? And like when your local band would win the Battle of the Bands, and it was like the coolest thing ever. You thought they were, I mean, like the hottest shit ever. So it's I really am. I think we're all kind of in shock that we're getting the chance to be a part of it, especially like the first year back, because it's kind of something you never thought would come back. I think especially with the kind of nostalgia resurgence that happened in like 2020, 2021, and seeing all of these other festivals happen. Like we just played something called All Your Friends Fest, and When We Were Young, and Hawthorne Heights did their Is for Lovers thing, and Warped Tour still wasn't coming back. It was like, oh damn, maybe they're done. And you know, they I think Kevin Lyman also does summer school, so that kind of felt like a Warped Tour thing too, where it was like, okay, well maybe that's what they're replacing it with. So to be able to get the chance now to be a part of it, it's awesome, and I think it's going to be really cool to play that stage and do our thing, and because we go at it from an angle that I think a lot of the older Warped Tour bands did, which is no tracks, no click, play with the stage monitors, a real punk rock show. So it's going to be really cool to be on that stage and honor those bands that we looked up to when we were growing up and playing.
And maybe even a wall of death where you have everybody separate and run into each other.
I'm waiting for it. Our mosh pits go pretty crazy, and we have stage divers, but no one's done the wall of death yet. So maybe we can get one of those going during Wilburn Street Tavern.
What about you? Have you ever stage dived at a show? That's one thing I haven't done.
Yes. Yep. I'll usually if the show sells out, that's my like thing I do at the very end of the show.
Show. I was talking about a different show. It's cool that you do it at your own shows.
Oh yeah. I stage dive at our own shows.
Awesome.
Yes, I've staged stage dove.
Dove? I don't know. With that
as a kid, as an adult, I unless it's our show where I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna get out of this alive, hopefully. But otherwise.
Yeah, I got a concussion once stage diving at a Dropkick Murphy show, actually in Boston.
Hell yeah. Yeah, those go crazy.
Or are you thinking, doing that in Boston, Steve? Come on.
I was in college though. Now I can't even think about that. But yeah, it was like, a stage show, but then it was like the circle pit was open, so I went right onto the floor.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're still here to tell the story, man. I didn't even know that story. I've known you for like 20 years. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, so I'm sure everybody loves to ask about the band name, of course, but I want to know if you had any other options before you landed on that one.
Oh, that's a good question. We actually just asked Rise Against that question in an interview the other day.
I saw that. Yeah.
Theirs were crazy.
Yeah. I forgot what did they? I saw that interview. I forgot what they said though.
Yeah, one of them was like Jimmy Crackcorn and the I Don't Care.
Yeah, that was it.
I'm like, thank God you didn't go with that name. Do we have any other names? I mean, for a long while, we were just going by Coco, which was never like the plan. But as far as other names go, I think Winona Fighter was the only one we were like, okay, that's a contender. And oh, hey,
Hey,
how
fire.
does that happen?
Is that like automated every time you say the name of the band, the fireworks go off?
But we do keep a list of names in our phones just in case anyone needs one. And they're not good. They're not good names. So we have like Large Adult Son is one of them.
Not that good.
Like Beijing Beef is one of them.
Beijing Beef, okay.
Which for, I don't know, for like a deathcore band, I think that could be pretty cool.
I've heard worse, yeah.
So we yeah, if you guys ever need a band name, we do keep a list, and they're not good.
Has anybody actually used it or not yet?
No, I know that. Oh,
I bet a fan would.
Austin just texted me. He's in the next room. He said Loose Mints was one of them, but like LOO, like knocked loose, so loose like that, and then mince, like mincemeat.
Yeah.
Which could also be a very good hardcore band name.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, people have this. Usually, it's like artists Austin's working with. They'll like seriously ask him for band name recommendations.
Interesting. I would always think that would come before you even write a song, but I guess not. Maybe it can go either way.
Yeah, I think sometimes when it's like he'll work with people who are like, I want to start a project, but I don't know where to begin. So he'll usually work with them like starting at like the ground level, and okay, like what's your sound going to be and stuff like that.
I have one more question, and then I'll let Steve wrap it up on his end. I want to know, you mentioned you were in bands when you were like 11 and 12 and so on. If you're like a hardcore fan of the band right now, can you find any of this on eBay or on Discogs, or is this just like local stuff and there's no recordings anywhere to be found on the internet?
I know all of the videos that were up of me playing drums in my little punk bands. They're saved, but they're like privated on YouTube. I'll always go back every now and then and like watch them and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But I'm trying to think.
What was the band name?
Well, it was so my first punk band was put together by like a program, and they named us Dragonfly after the Jimi Hendrix song.
Ah.
And about a year in, because I just can't let things just happen. I was like, guys, we can't be young kids in a punk band and our name be freaking Dragonfly. We look like idiots. So then we changed the name to Lost Thoughts. And that's what it was until our demise. I was in a band, it was like a surf punk band called Left Hand Blue, and they actually did like a lot of stuff. Like they were older than me, but I was, they took 15-year-old me on tour with them. I went to like Atlantic City and stuff, which I think my parents are still like, why did we let that happen? But
what happened to all these old bandmates?
One of them actually, from Left Hand Blue, she's actually opening our New York show this week.
That's cool.
Which I'm really excited about. But she's the only one who kept doing music and stuck with it. Everyone else went and got jobs, which I get totally. Sometimes I'm like, ooh.
So you've heard it here first. If you go to the New York show, you guys are going to play one of your old songs.
Yeah, I mean, we should. I don't know if we could.
I'm just kidding. All right, Steve, I'll let you take it.
And I will say that show is sold out. So yeah, I guess it will be stage dive. It's
yes,
awesome.
It is. That's sold out. DC sold out.
In
Columbus.
Chicago. Nice.
So lots of got to do my stretches, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'll have all your links down below, also upcoming tour dates. Lastly, is there any new music in the works? Any new album, EP, or anything?
Yeah. There is something that we're really excited about that maybe potentially people will know about very, very, very soon.
Okay, cool. Well, everyone, make sure to follow along on social media. We can find out what's exciting news. So, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and let's talk down the road with future music.
Thank you.